I try my best not to be a super old head, but I do feel like the XXL freshman list has progressively gotten worse. I know there's a place for it, and I want it to exist, but I wish it was just better. Am I wrong for that? I'm Sean, Lonegevity, with Bringing Down the Band and the New Old Heads podcast, and this is my Unpacked series where typically I go deeper on the New Old Heads segment. We talked about this on episode 448 with Oreo Jones and 𝗕𝗥𝗚𝗡𝗚 as guests on the New Old Heads. I'll skip past the part where we kind of watched a little brief part of that, but
it's just different now, man.
It's just different.
People are listening to and are interested in different things than what we are and the cloth that we were cut from.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of as expected. I know I laughed at a couple of these artists because to me it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is what it is.
So now that we watched the video, we discussed, because again, this is 18 years strong. This thing does not seem like it's going anywhere soon.
It shouldn't.
I agree. Does a XXL freshman list still hold any weight in terms of predicting, the future success of any of these artists, or just, in hip hop in general?
In predicting, no. But if you go through history and check every single year of these, it's a 25% success rate.
Okay.
Of people past 3 years.
Yes.
And I did the research too. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, okay, when you go through these, we really should go through these years and like just name the people and see the people who lasted more than 3 years.
Sure.
You'd be surprised, but it's a very low percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So it does. They do have a track record of. I mean, if you're looking at it like baseball, like they're batting pretty well. They're an all-star right now. But like if you're looking at just like a quarter of the people on the list don't make it past like a year or two, then
I think I'd have to look at this. Maybe I'll pull this up. So just looking at this, Saigon, Plies, Rich Boy, Gorilla Zoe, Joel Ortiz, Lupe, Boosie. I mean, the first one, got a lot of longevity in this. I mean, Gorilla Zoe kind of had a fall off. Rich Boy kind of did too. Plies did other stuff. Saigon had a fall off. But Ortiz, Lupe, Boosie, Crooked Eye, Papoose was doing his thing even before that. And Saigon was too. So, I mean, I'd say we're 50%, but Wale, B.O.B. still making music. Charles Hamilton did fall off. Asher Roth he's still making music, but Corey Gunn's a little bit too. Blue still dropping stuff. Facts, Ace Hood, I don't know. Currency Cuddy. So that's more than 50%. Cole, Nipsey, Freddie, Big Sean, Wiz, OJ the Juice Man, J-Rock, Fashawn, and Donis. The only one out of that OJ the Juice Man and Donis are the only two that I haven't seen drop anything, in a while. Meek Mill, Big Crit, Sci-Hi, Lil Twist, Yellow Wolf, Fred the Godson, Mac Miller, YG, Lil B, Kendrick, and Diggy Simmons. I mean, that one's over 50%. Future, Kid Ink, Daddy Brown, French Montana, Macklemore, Don Tripp, Machine Gun Kelly, Hobson, Iggy Azalea, and Roscoe Dash. That one's, Danny Brown's still making music. So it's Future, obviously. French Montana had his run. Macklemore still is. Machine Gun Kelly literally just played in Indianapolis yesterday. Hobson still dropping stuff. Iggy Azalea is live streaming with Neon and stuff now. So that's still about 50%. Schoolboy Q, Trinidad James, Joey Badass, Absol, Logic, Action Bronson, Kurt Cobain, Travis Scott, Dizzy Wright, Chief Keef, Angel. That's about 50% too. Maybe a little more. Chance the Rapper, Rich Homie Quan, Isaiah Rashad, Ty Dolla $ign, Lil Durk, Kevin Gates, Troy Ave, Vic Mensa, John Connor, Lil Bibby, Jaron Benton, and August Alsina. That's about 50% too. I think I would say for 𝗕𝗥𝗚𝗡𝗚, him saying that it's about 25%. It's really about 50. Fetty Wap, Dejlo, Alright, Kid, OG Maco, Sly Glizzy, K Camp, Vince Staples, Trick. Now this one might be a little closer to 25%. Lil Uzi Vert, Yachty, Kodak Black, Curry, G Herbo. This is a pretty decent year as far as I'm concerned. Dave East, Lil Dicky, Anderson .Paak, Designer. The only one out of here that I would say that isn't is probably Designer. That's a very strong list. I mean, not necessarily my favorite artist, but it's a strong list. Kamaya, A Boogie with the Hoodie, P&B Rock, Playboy Cardi, Amine, Cap G, Kyle, Ugly God. Yeah, that's 25% or lower. Ski Mask, Lil Pump, Smoke Perp, Jid, Steflon, Block Boy. So this is where, to me, the fall off was in this area. Because it's just the artists just weren't. Yeah, I don't know some of these people. I know the names, but I don't know any of their music. Comethazine, I'm not hip. Tierra Whack, of course. DaBaby, Lil Mosey, I'm not even hip. Roddy Ricch, Had a Run, Corday, Osiris, Rico Nasty, Gunna, Blueface, Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, that's maybe about 45%. Polo G, Chica, NLE Choppa, Jack Harlow, Keed, Lil TJ, Vivio Foreign, Cowboy, Rodway, Baby Keem. Even still, I think that one's probably about maybe a little less than 50%, in between 25 and 50. 42 Doug, Flo Milli, Moray, Pooh Shiesty, Boy LaRae, Tusi, Blast is dope, DDG, Ruby Rose, Ian Dior. Yeah, see, now we're getting into where like most of these artists at this point, I just don't mess with any of them. Like, it's an easy skip, on most of these. Nardo Wick, Sofego, Babyface Ray, Big Scar, Big 30, Cali, Kim the Man, Cochise, K-Side, Doechii, Saucy Santana, and Babytron. Like, bro, like I pay attention to hip hop stuff, and this again must just shows my age because I don't even know half of these names. Finesse 2 times. I only know him because of some dumb shit that he was in the news for. Lola Brooke, Rob 49, Friday, don't know who that is. Glorilla, 2 Rares, Sleazy World, don't know that. Central C, of course. Real Boston, Richie, what Tyler. I don't even know. See, at this point, I don't even know 50% of these people. Big X, The Plug, that Mexican OT, Boss Man, D-Lo, Rich Amiri, Scarlip, Honcho, 4 Bats, Cash Cobain, Skrilla Baby. I feel like this is still kind of new, so these people still have like time to kind of like turn the corner. But most of these are, the biggest out of these two is probably Big X, The Plug, and that Mexican OT. Boss Man, D-Lo, I guess, but Scarlett had like when this came out, she had a little bit of a run, but it's kind of dropped off. And then of course the latest one, I don't know, man. That 25% one, I don't know. I think it's closer to like 50, but not in the recents.
I mean, it looks kind of bad, but you know what I mean? Like I dig what they're trying to do with this. It always brings a lot of eyes to people that you've never seen before, especially since we're out of the loop when it comes to like people, younger artists, right? And we may expect a little bit too much from their freestyle sessions, which is not, I don't think it's fair. You know what I mean? Like, what do you expect little Joe Timmy to do on a cypher? You know what I'm saying? When you hear cypher, we have a different mentality when we're looking at these things. So I don't want to knock anybody that does this because to a younger kid, they might be looking at these dudes doing the cypher. They be like, man, these dudes is jamming. They rocking with it. But as far as like, XXL, should it go away? No, I love it. But they do have like a 25% average for like people that
success rate.
Or success rate. Yeah. Success rate.
What do you? Yeah, and I guess, like I said, I think it's higher. I think it's higher than like a success rate. Like, what is successful?
To me,
based upon like what's your?
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, because like you could look back at some of these and you could say, well, is it like I don't know, like super popular, or is it like they're still making music?
A little bit of longevity. We haven't completely forgot about them. Let's do 2009. Wale still around. B.O.B. not around. Charles Hamilton not around. Couldn't have told me that back in 2009.
I thought he was on his way.
You feel me? Asher Roth not around.
Thought he was definitely going to be.
But even real quick, B.O.B. has dropped something recently, and Asher Roth has as well. So
ain't nobody checking for him the same way though.
Maybe not. I think the space is different, right? But like, I guess that's why I asked the question, right? Because it's not like these artists are gone away.
Or they're even bad.
Charles Hamilton did. I mean,
he kind of went away. And they're not bad, but I'm just talking about as far as like
what you expected.
What you expected trajectory.
Yeah.
Mickey Fax has a school for MCs and artists. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like doing big things. Ace Hood fell off. Currency
still here.
Beefing with Freddie. Kid Cudi still doing things. About to drop a project in like a couple weeks or something like that. But if you go through each one of these, man, there's going to be like 3 or 4 that are still doing things nowadays and are still prolific with it. You know what I mean?
Drake actually was never on one.
It was Nicki. They had to do, XXL had to do like a Nicki and Drake cover to kind of make up for the fact that they missed on both of them.
Yeah. What you think, Oreo, in terms of the power of XXL, or if it's even still there?
Yeah, I mean, there's legacy to it, but I feel like we're in like kind of like a time in music where like the artist is almost surpassing the publication. Where,
that's a good point.
I'm talking about like Rolling Stone isn't hitting like it was back in the day. Neither is XXL. And also like people can vote for the freshmen, right? Online, there's a component where you can like vote for.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I think there's like a component or there's like a part of
like
it where
a fan
you can,
part.
Yeah, like a fan voting or whatever. But yeah,
I don't know. Let me look that up. I'm not hip on that either. It's not entirely deemed by fan voting, but it does play a role. Here's how it works: the 10th spot is decided by fan voting each year. XXL opens a poll for fans to vote on the final spot of the freshman class. Okay, so who was the fan vote for 2025. Not even a part of the cipher. A fan voted 10th spot for the 2025 XXL freshman class was won by EBK Jabo. So it didn't even make the cipher. So that's interesting.
It's hard to say. Obviously, it's legacy. I think it's important. I agree with Brookins. I don't think it should go anywhere because it's just a part of the culture. I think. Yeah, it looks different. You know, you don't notice or know anyone on it, but I think it's me. I'm sorry. A lot of people probably know a lot of people on the roster every year, but yeah, I feel like we're now in a position, especially where music is, where I feel like the artist is almost bigger than the list, if that makes sense, or the publication. Just
that's a very, very good point that I didn't chime in a ton on this, but that's a very, very good point. Like, we are in a place to where, like, artists have a lot of power now, like platforms, like even the platform that this was once, like, obviously I'm out here talking on this now, but like, I didn't put my face on this platform for a very long time because I wanted the music and the artist to kind of live on it. But it turned into a thing to where, like, artists started to be able to create their own thing. And that started to become, not only was it always really the path, but it became the path that was obtainable for artists to kind of create their own thing. So now it's like, all right, let me create my own thing as well within it and push it in a very particular type of way to still highlight some stuff. You know what I mean? But like, artists don't need publications in the same type of way because the streaming era is like coming to an end. Direct to fan, direct to consumer is up next. And that's all about building your own base. And so these publications, they just don't have quite the importance because the gate is open a little bit on this stuff.
How media is, you know, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I feel like under these artists, they probably didn't really care about it, really. I feel like they're probably doing their own thing and they're doing their emotion. This is just a bonus, you know. Obviously, it helps out, but yeah, it's just kind of like a different time when it comes to, you know, music publications.
Outside of this, do we even think of XXL anymore?
No.
Coming from someone that used to have every one of these mugs, you know what I'm saying?
There was some project I did. It was over 10 years ago. But I remember, like, I think it was a remix project or something. So I think it was Grumpy Old Men. I did a Sunday Brunch remixes with them, and it was debuted by DJ Booth. So shouts to them and bringing on the band. But DJ Booth was the premiere of that, which was a kind of a big hip hop, you know, publication, online publication at the time. And they premiered it, but it also got shared, you know, with like some other decently sized stuff. But I remember the Source shared it. And so I can technically say that I was like in the short Source because they shared it as one of their projects to come, you know, up and check out or whatever. But like, you know, you go to their website and it's like all a bunch of ads and you can tell that it's like everything was like falling off. Like this is like 2000 and when we dropped that, 2013, 14, something like that. Like even back then it was like kind of sloping towards a way, you know, towards the basic publication blogging and stuff like that just didn't matter as much anymore.
The physical print was like a thing. That was a time, you know.
Facts.
And I felt like that was more important and then it was more magical and, you know, you were reading everything. You were seeing what was that was your source, no pun intended, but you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you would go to that, you would get these magazines and really look and try to discover new stuff. At least I did. I would try to figure out, you know, what's popping and what's not. But I feel like even if you click on that site, it's probably you're getting up with spam and ads and you know what I mean before you can even get to the meat of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like kind of an interesting time trying to navigate that.
Yeah, I think we're just cut from a different cloth, so we see things differently.
That's true.
So like when artists were coming out and emerging, when we were, you know what I'm saying, already established and being fans of music, they were trying to vie for the top spot. Whereas now I feel like artists, they don't really care about being the number one artist. They want to be noticed. They want their vibe and their aura to carry them where they want to go.
Well, I would take it even a step further. I think it's less about wanting to be the best artist, being the best rapper, but they want to make the most money. They want the most status.
They don't really care about where they land in the game. It's like, I'm going to just say these raps. I literally just,
some people anyways,
just made this shit up on the way here. I don't care if you like it or not. My fans don't care if you like it or not. This is me. This is my vibe. This is what my followers it. So this is what you're going to get. Whereas I'm still viewing this as a hip hop rap head. So if you ain't got no bars and it sounds like some illegible, then I'm gonna laugh like I did. But that speaks for me. That doesn't speak for the fans coming up and enjoying it and think they're doing something or agree with what they're doing. So I mean, I give them peace for that. But in my stance, I still think the bar has been lowered as far as a rap artist or a hip hop artist is concerned. Because even while we were watching these videos, the cast that had a little something to say stuck out to us
For sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That kind of be like, okay, he's talking about something at least.
I felt that.
You know, so it's kind of skewed when it comes to that. So I think it should, at the end of the day, I think it should continue as far as coming out, and it's just overgrown the new old heads. I'll just say that.
What you think, Jay?
I think it's still something that is necessary, you know, because it gives opportunity. It gives a spotlight, you know, and for whatever I may personally think about, you know, somebody's talent, I may not know just because, look, I'm 48 years old. I think I'm the oldest of the new old heads at this point. And I tell people, like, when I was heavy into the club, like, it's been 6-7 months since I got out of the game. As far as that was concerned, I had to do the research to be cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know, these aren't records that I would listen to in my spare time, but I had to be up on it. If somebody makes a request for something, I don't want to be like, I don't know that shit. You know, we gonna put on some DMX and you just shut the fuck up. No, I can't, you know what I'm saying? For what I was trying to do, I needed to be open to new sounds and new artists, whether I thought they were good or not. Like, did it fit what the marketplace was at that time? You know, and I think sometimes we get so stuck into what it is that we think is good or we think isn't, you know, because honestly, if I just remember when Wu-Tang came out, there were some older people who were like, man, how you gonna have 9 people in a rap group? And you know, and then we hear a few years later it's DMX. You know, I remember Ed Lover was like, man, I don't know about all this barking on the record. You know, he didn't see the vision, and that's no diss to him, but it is what it is. Like, you know.
Yeah, but like, we're not Ed Lover. You know what I mean? Like, it's different genres. I don't know. I feel like sometimes we, in general, people that love this, they come from a previous generation sometimes. And don't get me wrong, there is such a thing as an elitism and all that stuff concerned. But sometimes there's a such thing, in my opinion, as overcorrecting and being maybe a little bit too polite on not quite understanding the art. Because some stuff, there isn't really anything to be understood. If you're doing something that's completely different as an artist and it's unique and I don't quite get it, like, I'm smart enough to know that I don't understand it, right? Because I've been doing this. But if you're doing some stuff and I know for a fact that you're just not very good at what you're doing because this is literally the profession that I do, this is my life, then objectively I can say this is not very good. And I feel like it's nice sometimes to say like, I just don't get it. But like, no, I get it. It's just a lot of this stuff is just ass, man. It's just what it is. Like, and I say that from a perspective of like, it doesn't feel like the artists are taking the art as serious as they need to be. And that's the only thing that I have a problem with. Like, the people that were like rapping on this, that I could tell that they were like really trying to rap like really well and stuff. Like, they were going in it. They took it serious, you know, or maybe they weren't as polished as they needed, you know, that they needed to be, but they were like trying, like, you can feel that, you know what I mean? But then there's some that are just like, no, this is my aesthetic is being this. And it's almost like the rapping, the emceeing aspect, which is an integral part of the pillars of hip hop, is almost being bastardized in a way. And, you know, it kind of is what it is, you know, and I think there's an interesting balance of being able to call something what it is, being able to be honest about stuff. I've had conversations with young artists and be like, look, man, you're dope, but what are you doing here? Like, why are you rapping like this? Like, why are you intentionally rapping off beat? Like, why are you doing, like, you don't have to do that. And, you know, it's different types of waves and stuff, but like some stuff is subjective, but a lot of stuff is objective, you know? So anyway.
He's older than all of us, you know, and that's because he comes from a different era. Sometimes you just have to give shit a chance. Like, I'm not giving everybody on this list a chance because I didn't think that they were any good. Now, there were some people I'm like, even the dude who said, you know, if you got the cheese and the bread and I got the meat, I'll check out some more. Just based on that. You know, there are a couple people, like I said, what was the young lady's name?
Sin.
Samara
Sin.
Yeah.
She is clearly talented.
She can sing too.
Yeah. So, you know, when I heard her go, I was like, okay, I can see what it is and where people pick up on her vibe. You know, but that's based on my 48-year-old years. Like, I got to kind of remove myself and say, okay, well, just because I hear somebody go, that might be the hottest shit in the world to my godson, you know, so.
Yeah, I think there's this interesting thing too, like in most professions and most things in life, don't get me wrong, like in most things in life, you always got to hold space for new ideas and new things. But like music and hip hop is a very interesting thing. And I know it's youth driven to where like the people that have been around the most, the longest, that have experienced the most, that have the most learned understanding of the stuff are like letting essentially expert opinions dissipate just for like trying to almost be cool sometimes, like trying to keep up with it or just be like, hey, just let them do what they do, which is fine. Like, I don't disagree with that. But if I'm a young mathematician and, you know, I've been doing this for like a year or two and I barely care about it. And then there's like this guy who's been doing this stuff for like 25, 30 years over here who's like, this guy doesn't really, what are you doing? Do it this way. You know, like that person that's telling me that has been doing this for a very long time. You know, like they have studied the craft. They understand the craft. So there's this weird thing sometimes that happens to where like we don't value expertise. And I understand that it's a creative art form, but the balance is like really skewed to like anti-intellectualism in a creative art in a way. And it's kind of a direct reflection of society in a way, which is kind of weird. But like, I can't cater to, I can definitely give people space to try to do creative things at a high level, but there is a very strong line of people trying to do things in a creative different way and people that are just not trying. And I don't feel like that line is really that hard to see, but sometimes I feel like we just give people too much the benefit of the doubt. And maybe that's an internal fault of mine, but anyways.
Somebody understood Charlie Brown and them teacher.
So I think it's necessary not only to give opportunity, but to give a light and a platform to these young artists who are.
And I agree with that 100%, obviously.
Doing something that I may not understand.
Considering that's what I've been doing with my life for the last 20, 15 years.
And maybe I can't rock with it, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't have an audience and it doesn't have a value to that audience.
That's real. That's
Sure.
real. Anybody else got anything else to add?
Yeah.
Go ahead, beloved. Floor is yours.
This is a cipher.
Yeah.
That wasn't a cipher.
Nah.
As much as I can like agree with your guys' points about definitely to the original point, a space for people to be able to do this, XXL existing, all these things. Yes, absolutely. I think all that stuff is super important. Here's what kind of bothers me a little bit. There are historically, again, this is a XXL cipher, right? Where people that can rap pretty well are rapping. There are still rappers that rap really well that are young. Not all of them sound like this. And we are not highlighting it. We are highlighting kind of the low end of the common denominator here in general. Now, I'm just saying from a cipher lyricist standpoint, that right there. I'm not saying from an artist standpoint. Now, granted, XXL is not just about ciphers, right? Obviously, right? But I do feel like if we look at the timeline, to your point, Jay, when you're mentioning about how 25%, but if we go all the way back and then it's the drop off
It digresses.
is pretty massive. And I highlighted that. It was like 2015, 16, 17-ish.
Well, who name one year that they had like over 50%? Maybe the first year?
What are we talking
No,
about?
not as far as artists, but as far as the
you're
actual
talking about
quality.
actual talent?
Quality of the talent that they are presenting in the thing. And I know
That might be an old head statement.
I don't think that it is because I know young cats that exist that could be on these lists every single year.
A lot of them were on the Trees Festival.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm saying in general, like every year that this comes out, it's like this guy's buzzing, so we're going to put him on there regardless, right? Is that what should be happening with the XXL lifts?
Because
right? That brings up that conversation, right?
Okay, so if we go back in time and when they started doing this, right? Do you think they were going for more of an angle of talent than they were from popularity?
I think from the time that I started paying attention up through the blog era, I think there was much more of a barometer of being able to be like, this person's buzzing over here and they got the work that, and I think that's how they were grabbing it. I think now, because of how media is kind of all over the place, I would probably guess that most of the people, I mean, who knows, but like, I would wager that the people that are selecting the people are not selecting on the same type of parameters as they were previously.
Because
and based upon this too, to clarify that, to answer Jay's point a little bit, like I feel like now and I mentioned this just a little bit ago, I feel like now it's almost like that talent piece is just pushed even farther to the side. You know, like if you're buzzing, like back in the day, like OJ the Juice Man was on one of these lists. You know what I mean? Like there's not a plethora of talent with OJ the Juice Man. But he was one of those artists back in the day that was buzzing a little bit, so it kind of made sense. And he was doing his thing in his area, and he was definitely known back in the day. But you used to get maybe a couple, but now it's just like these lists are like massive of people that don't really seem to take the art serious. And I think that's all it really comes down to me. Is just like, just take the art serious, take hip hop serious. And, there's a difference between going out and doing this because you want to be a really dope artist and that you're just trying to get a bag, and those are two different things. And the worlds are different. And I can't relate to the bag world, and that I just can't, because this is a creative world for me,
Honestly, again, and this ain't to take away nothing from anybody that's been on this cipher, but as far as an overall MC, the bar has been lowered. People don't care about emceeing as much as they do rapping.
And I think we also have to continually say hip hop is a culture where emceeing is a prominent piece of it, right? So we can't disregard emceeing in hip hop. We just can't. We can't.
It's a little different.
And to that, let's just say as media, right? Or in general, what are we supposed to cater to? Do we cater to
Clicks?
The clicks? Or the integrity, or the perceived integrity, maybe, right? What's the balance there of being able to showcase, the things in the different, and I know that you guys go through this every year when you're selecting artists for Treese, and the same thing, right? It's like, all right, you want to be able to big up people. We've been in space blogging for a long time too,
for
like
sure.
putting out, like it's not about like, it's trying to find that balance. It's almost like one of these type of things. It's like wanting to give people space, but I feel like a lot of times this is a hard conversation to have when you generally just want people to win. But sometimes I also, and maybe I know I'm not alone, but I always lean towards the side of being a little bit more honest with people in general, as opposed to, and I'm not even saying that's the better way to go, because I believe that the personality, the thing is, that's just my role. That's my role, right? Yeah. So that's the question that I would pose.
I think it's also just like a mirror of where society is. You know what I mean? I feel like you could take that example and you show what people are messing with. People like the clicks, they love the drama, they love to, the atrocity of things. It's like a car wreck that they can't keep their eyes off,
Sure.
I think that's just like kind of a testament to what people really enjoy, the just absurdity of everything right now. And I feel like not right now, but it's always been like that throughout history. But yeah, keeping things honest, keeping things real. Of course, you want to be on the right side of history with it. We all love and appreciate real lyricism and real musicianship. I think that's always important. It's always good to keep that close to the chest, and that's where I feel like we were all kind of raised with that.
Yeah.
I mean, us, right? But I think the conversation is kind of a little bigger than that, And I didn't do a really good job of articulating my points here. I think also because I didn't know exactly what I was trying to say in the moment.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just a testament to how we were brought up, even as an artist, and how I've digested.
It's just a delicate conversation to have. It's a delicate conversation to have because on one hand, like, I'm not trying to be critical of anybody on an individual basis. And it's definitely like a journey, but I care. I guess I just care. I care about it,
Suggested music and everything. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of just like I think that's a beauty of it. It's a beauty in the tragedy of hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like, knowing everyone's perception is different, and no one has the right answer, and people like what they like, and it's crazy. But I think that's just like what it is. That's why it's the strongest thing in the world right now, and it always will be, I feel.
And that last piece that he said, I would almost challenge that, like, there's a certain level of, like, it's like with everything. When the barrier for entry becomes super low and anybody can do anything, and to be labeled a hip hop artist, all you have to do is just release a song. Like, you don't have to have any type of background story. You don't have to do anything. And use this across the board. It doesn't even have to be just about hip hop. It can be about anything. It takes the value out of it. There's no work involved. And I'm a strong believer that anything that has value has work behind it. Not because you have to, work is necessarily like the defining metric, but because it creates this level of care internally. Like, if I work on a project for 2 hours and I put it out, it's different. And I have a different level of care for the thing than if I worked on it for 25 hours. And, going through like the educational period of appreciating the thing that I'm doing, is something that I think sometimes gets overlooked in this process because the barrier for entry on almost everything, this is not just a hip hop thing, it just becomes a lot lower. And I run into this when I teach, you know, in the classes I teach, you know, at 𝗕𝗥𝗓𝗪𝗓, I teach, y'all probably know, but I teach music production courses. And, you know, one thing that I say to everybody, like a lot of people come in and they expect to be just like really amazing in like 6 to 8 weeks. And it's like, nah, this is something like, if you really want to learn the trade, if you really want to like be good at this, you have to appreciate the history. You have to appreciate where it came from. You have to appreciate all the different levels of everything. And I feel like the level of appreciation is something that a lot of times, I don't know, there's just, I don't know how to articulate this the way that I probably should be able to articulate this, but it's very easy to see from the outside, no matter what trade you're in, the people that are just fresh in the trade need a few more reps, need to show improve a little bit more, need to put in a little bit more work. And I just feel like we are highlighting as a culture of humanity right now, people that are putting in no effort in the thing that we are highlighting. And it kind of demeans everything around us that, or those of us that do put in effort and work and to like fully understand the thing that we are doing. And maybe that's as a society just where we're heading. I don't know. And if you ask me if it really matters, part of me is like 100% agrees with them. Like, nah, it doesn't really matter. But another part of me is kind of like, nah, it really kind of does, man. We need to value things. We need to put value and care and love into things. And I don't know, maybe I'm just preaching. Maybe I am just the old head. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the
You know what I
machine,
mean?
the machine doesn't depend on the machine now.
Yeah.
Like the artists have to pretty much create the moment, and then the machine goes and picks them up.
Yeah. The algorithm.
Yeah. So I think the AR role has came to a fall, and it's the past thing now, and people aren't necessarily searching for artists the same way they were then. The artists are finding them, or they're finding the artists that have already created their own wave. I think that's the difference.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about, if you look at, I pulled up some.
Like, this is just one of those things to where like I feel like this conversation is a much deeper conversation that where like I need to do some thought exercises and to really kind of think this completely through, like how I want to formulate my opinion on this, because like even as I'm sitting here thinking about it, it's like there's something in there that I want to say that I just don't know how I want to say
the
it.
covers. We're talking about the covers, right? Oreo made a good point. I believe it was you that talked about, you know, reflecting the times, if you will, right? You talked about that, but the evolution or de-evolution. Look at the. I'm gonna read the names for the first one. Now think about what we just heard, and think about the first one in 2007. 𝗕𝗥𝗓𝗓𝗪, Rich Boy, Lupe Fiasco, Lil Boosie, Gorilla Zoe, Joell Ortiz, Crooked Eye, Papoose, and Young Dro.
And the number one artist on that cover, nobody would have guessed it would have been Boosie. Like straight up, and I ain't taking nothing away from Boosie. But
Lupe
if you look,
Fiasco?
I'm gonna skip this part.
What should be the purpose of the XXL list?
So that's where I was.
Okay,
leading
that's where we're
towards.
leading
That's
to
where I'm
right
leading to.
now.
Like in 2025, which I think is that even the next?
To have a good cipher, or
No.
to
No,
no.
Mm-mm.
no, I don't think so.
No.
So we've been tripping.
No, I think so. My view personally, unless you want to go
No,
first,
go ahead.
my view personally on
My thing here is to like the cipher is a representation of like you can view somebody's cipher and tell how much they care. It's a time for you to shine. There was a time where like this last cipher, like a 𝗕𝗥𝗓𝗪𝗡, what she was doing, or you know, like that was the low barometer for this type of stuff. You know, now it's just like it's just not.
the XXL cover, or whoever is selected has nothing to do with the cipher. Some of these artists I'm being introduced to from the cipher, though.
Sure.
Unfortunately.
So that is what creates my idea of who's right.
Well, I'll just close this out by saying I like analytical discussions like this. I feel like I could go further on this too, but I think at the end of the day, what I would probably say is I care about art. I care about artists, and that will always be something that I care about more than what is deemed cool. You know, there's an interesting intersectionality here, I think, when it comes down to opportunity and getting the youth involved and allowing them to shine. And the examples we set and the examples that us that are older showcase and promote. I just remember what it was like coming up. Like if we sucked, man, we were told we sucked, you know, and it made us a little bit more thicker skin, and it made us get in there and care a little bit more about the things that we did. And I just feel like I'd like that, you know. I like the fact, you know, I like to work hard on the things that I'm doing because I like to dig deeper into the nuances of the things that I'm crafting and creating. I like to understand it. I understand that we do live in a society right now that is struggling. The United States and, you know, capitalism is destroying everything, and we got a president in office that is making everything even more challenging, especially for marginalized groups in a variety of different places and areas that's connected to. And, you know, I understand why people are just out here and see music and art as this viable thing to just jump in to do, to try to get a bag real quick, you know. And most people want to be able to get out there and express their feelings, and a lot of people want to do it through music and song and stuff like that, and I think that that's great. But at the same time, I think the way that our society is set up makes this conversation hard to have. Like, we should look at art and creativity not in the same metric as we do popularity and capital, but we do. And even though we as a society say that we love art and we support art and all these things, you know, it always comes back to the conversation when it comes down to it, do we really? You know, and that's kind of where I'll leave you with. So I'm Sean, Lonegevity again. This is my Unpacked series that I typically do with New Old Head segments, and this is from episode 448 with Oreo Jones and Jay Brookins joined us. They are people that help curate the Trees Festival here in Indianapolis. It's this is its 10th, well, not the 10th year of the festival because obviously COVID and stuff, but this is 10 years since the origination of the festival. I've helped contribute to that since the first year. So it's August 23rd. If you're seeing this within time and you're in the Midwest, come get a ticket, come out. I'll be in the plaza. You can come say hi to me. We're going to be judging a beat battle. We have DJs and producers. Trackstar, the DJ, who is Run the Jewels DJ, also just a dope DJ in general, will be our headliner on our stage. We're going to have a battle. Smino's headlining the festival. Go get your tickets at treesaf.com. It's CHREECEAF.com. I know it's kind of a weird word. It's the combination of cheers and peace. But yeah, it's in Indianapolis. And yeah, if you want to support the New Old Heads, it's newoldheads.com to check all our stuff out. But patreon.com/newoldheads. Become a free member. Do that so you can get notified when we drop stuff, and become a $5 member to get this full, it's like a 3-hour conversation, but we drop 2-hour plus conversations every single week. We typically only release an hour to the public. So I will see y'all next time. Peace.